the jostle for who becomes the next Senate President and Speaker of the House of Representatives has reopened the discourse on the issue of ranking and whether or not fresh lawmakers stand any chance of nicking the top legislative job.
And that's exactly why we have joining us now Clement Jimbo. Is a member-elect of the House of Representatives representing Abak Etemekbo Ika Federal Constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Thank you very much for joining us on News Night tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right. Okay, let's, since the issue right here is the concern that's been expressed by the outgoing Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, who actually made a point that 30% of legislators, only 30% of the 9th Assembly are returning to the 10th Assembly, a very dismal number, which he says will really affect, the preparedness of the incoming lawmakers. Let's start the conversation from there. I mean, you are a new, incoming lawmaker, right?
Correct.
Great, fantastic. So what do you make of this concern that he's expressed?
I would disagree with him completely. Because I recall in 1999, when democracy returned, majority, if not all, that constituted the upper and the lower legislative chamber were first-timers. And we still had the house intact. Nigeria still survived. They still made laws. So what? We even have 30% that are returning, so it shouldn't be an issue. We are equal to the tax.
Don't you think that could just make the 10th Assembly the weakest link in the next administration? I mean, where you have, so many new lawmakers who really don't have the, requisite skills of lawmaking. They have to learn. Can Nigeria really afford that now? This next administration actually plans to hit the ground running.
The truth of the matter is, for you to survive in Nigeria, win an election in Nigeria, go through the electioneering processes is enough preparation for you to withstand any rigorous activities in the House. It's not a big deal. I'm a first-timer, but I'm versed with the challenges that has bedeviled this country for the past 40 years. They are not new to me. So I don't see it as a challenge. Is it to read the standing orders? It is written in English. And an average lawmaker will read English and understand English. So I don't see it as a challenge. It shouldn't be a challenge.
I'm happy you smiled when you said that because it sounds like an aside, and if you recall them back then, this looks like an aside. How difficult it is when we're given a passage called comprehension, read and answer, and people still make a mess of it. Now let's come into the National Assembly proper, because you're surely going to have what they call an orientation for everyone.
That's true.
Now, looking at the orientation and speaking of leadership, I'll go back to where Ngozi started. And now we need to look at the leadership. Ranking members, these are words that have been placed there since after 1999. So do you think that should be tweaked to the extent that the newbies, the fresh people like yourself, will have a say in the leadership of the National Assembly?
It would not be out of place if you ask me. Being the Speaker of the 10th Assembly or being a ranking member in the 10th Assembly, we are all elected into the 10th Assembly equal. We are all members. And going by the standing rule, every one of us is qualified, depending on how you are able to play your ball in the House, to become even the Speaker.
A freshman becoming Speaker?
It is not out of place. It is possible. What am I saying? The point I'm making here is that anybody that has been elected into the green chamber or the red chamber is qualified to become the Speaker of the House.
Yeah, it's not just about qualification. I mean, I'm sure you do agree that experience does count to a very large extent.
Agreed.
But I'll let you respond to that. I mean, we do have a report on this. Omo Bazwaye, our correspondent, actually takes a look at what is contained in the standing order, the much talked about standing order, and alleged moves by some, outgoing lawmakers to have it amended to favor some interests that are likely to be fresh lawmakers. Let's see that report and return to this conversation.
With barely 2 months to the end of the Ninth Assembly, the race for the leadership of the next National Assembly, the Senate presidency and speakership has continued to heat up, with senators and members-elect throwing their hearts in the ring for the top jobs. With the jostle has come widespread assertions that some lawmakers in the ruling All Progressive Congress APC are plotting to amend the standing orders of both chambers to eliminate the ranking clause as it applies to the appointment of the 2 presiding officers in both chambers and their deputies. If the alleged planned amendment succeeds, it will then make it possible for a few fresh but powerful senators-elect and House members-elect to have a shot at the Senate presidency and the speakership. Reports say the pressure to amend the standing orders is coming from ambitious former governors or serving governors elected into the 10th Assembly, who fear that their chances at the coveted titles could be dimmed by Senate and House standing rules that place so much premium on ranking. In the Senate, fingers have been pointed at the former governor of Edo State, Adams Oshiomhole, who many believed had started to campaign secretly for the top job. The planned amendment could also brighten the chances of serving governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi. Senator Matthew Roide, representing Edo South, says such plans in the Senate will be dead on arrival. He ruled out the possibility of some members secretly amending the standing order to just accommodate some interest.
If anybody wants to accommodate, you want to accommodate the interest of any particular person, all right? The rule here says that everything that is done in the Senate is by ranking.
Regarding the election of presiding officers in the Senate, Section 3, Subsection 2 of the Standing Order states clearly that nomination of senators to serve as presiding officers and appointments and other officers of the Senate or any parliamentary delegations shall be in accordance with the ranking of senators. The rulebook went further to state that in determining ranking, the following orders shall apply. 1. Senators returning based on the number of times re-elected. 2. Senators who had been members of the House of Representatives. And 3. Senators elected as senators for the first time.
The new members, not being members of the House yet, the members elect, I beg your pardon, cannot do anything to the standing orders of the Senate, of the House, or of the House of Assembly, because they are not members.
Ita Enan, who served as the chairman of the Senate Rules and Business Committee for many years, notes that while the senators-elect do not have any power to effect any change of the standing order, the current lawmakers in the 9th Assembly can amend the rules as long as it follows established guidelines, and whatever they do becomes binding as the standing rules by the next or incoming Assembly.
If the current members of the House or the Senate change that position by themselves, whatever they change here, it becomes the standing orders of the immediate preceding Assembly.
His opinion is shared by Senator Uroide, who cautioned strongly against any arrangement that will sacrifice the experience that comes with ranking.
Why? This is a job that is done based on experience.
Do you think that rule can be changed in a split second?
It cannot be changed unless we all agree to change it. No one person, no section, no party can change it. If a party wants to change it, let them come to the floor of the Senate.
The Senate and House of Representatives are to be inaugurated on June 13th after a presidential proclamation that cannot wait a second longer. And the first task of the senators or members-elect shall be to elect their presiding officers among themselves. Omo Bazwai, Arise News.
All right. Well, we still have Clement Jimbo. He's a member-elect representing Abak Itemekbo federal constituency in Akwa Ibom State. Well, you heard that report there, and you know, older lawmakers saying don't even go there. As far as the issue of, you know, the plan, alleged plan to eliminate the standing rules to accommodate certain interests. What do you make of that?
I agree completely.
Great. You do agree? So,
I agree completely.
Okay, but your position before now seems to be the contrary.
No, I agree
clearly.
completely with the standing rule.
Right.
That is the law. It has to be obeyed until there is a need for it to be altered or changed. I'm happy even what the man said there. He said, except all of us agree to change it. So it's changeable. It's not as if it is a mandatory rule that is how you should follow.
So you think with the number of new people coming in now, it's possible to see a change?
It's very possible. It's very possible. Maybe after inauguration, things can be done. Only when we are inducted into the House. Don't forget that we are not going to be a rubber stamp to anybody. We're going to have a mind of our own. If what was made yesterday is not in conformity of what we want in driving the process, the solution to the Nigerians' problem, it has to be changed. It's not sacrosanct. It's not cast in stones.
Quickly here, now that you're here, there's this talk of opposition parties all, you know, coming together to see how they can get a block vote. I see you smiling.
Right.
Get a block vote to elect a speaker.
Have you been approached for that?
That is going to be practically impossible in the 10th Assembly.
Why?
The APC enjoys the majority in the House. At least we are up to about 178 right now. And the opposition party, the PDP, is about 101. It's practically impossible for them to have control over the 10th Assembly. Yes. So he's dead on arrival. It's not possible.
Right. Then
Yes.
I wonder what your position is on the argument as to where, you know, sharing the leadership positions in the next assembly would fall. The APC doesn't seem to have made a very clear position as far as that's concerned. But a lot of people, there's a lot of jostling for that. The South is saying, look, it's our turn. The Southeast is saying, look, for the, you know, for fairness, justice, and equity, it should go to the Southeast. As far as the Senate presidency is concerned, what's your take on all of that? We do know that you belong to the Godswill Akpabio camp. Do you think it should fall to his side?
Well, when you say camp, I'm from Akwa Ibom State.
Right.
I'm very privileged and fortunate to come from the same senatorial district with the senator. And if you look at Akwa Ibom State, and indeed South-South is the, should I say, the only zone in the 6th geopolitical zone in Nigeria that always lays the golden egg for the rest of Nigerians to enjoy. And looking at the Senate president coming to the South-South is a well-placed argument, which we have the personality that can fit into that office effectively. If you look at the person of Godswill Akpabio, a senator who has been a commissioner in Akwa Ibom State for 6 years, and rose from there to become the governor of Akwa Ibom State for 8 years. Then won an election and became a senator of the Federal Republic for 4 years. Rose there to become a minister of the Federal Republic for about 3 years. Then re-elected into the Red Chamber for another 4 years, maybe 8 years then. He has passed through the crucibles of every segment and aspect of governance. He's well versed with knowledge. And there is one characteristic that you cannot take away from the person of Godswill Akpabio, his disposition towards gathering people, making peace. And
well, I think
let me land on this thought.
Right.
You know, the man is a very jovial
I think you've said it all. You've said it all, and we're rounding off like this, and it's not coming back to you.
You should have allowed me to land on this
you already landed, because
I have not landed.
You've done quite a lot of selling. But the thing here is that it's that you've been able to also say the issue of ranking in the Senate
Definitely.
and the National Assembly counts, because you've given a
does.
resume of your man,
experience.
Godswill Akpabio's experience counts. So we would like to thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Clement Jimbo, member-elect Abak Etemekbo, Ika Federal Constituency, Akwa Ibom State. Joining us tonight.